Hi, I'm Dan Schmitt. I do a weekly television show called Team Chicago Challenge. My website is teamchicago.tv, teamchicago.tv, and remember to go there soon because I'm going to start upgrading the website. My email, and I love to hear from you, is teamdan45@gmail.com. As we continue on, I'm joined with my granddaughter, Alyssa, and we're going to finish up the 1990s. I mean, as all this, everything I did, that's the one thing I'm so happy that every race I was in has been recorded. And raw footage, I have raw footage, thousands of tapes of some of anything that took place in the 1990s through the 2020. I have great raw footage of it. So I've been very blessed, and I'm very lucky to put these shows together. So enjoy as we wrap up the 1990s, and don't forget my email, teamdan45@gmail.com. So where do we leave off? And let's continue on.
So what's this design with the motorcycle with the museum in the background?
Well, like we talked about last week, and we ended the show with the Art of the Motorcycle exhibit. Well, every year, which I don't mention much, is my road race school, but we'll get into road race school later. I would design a new t-shirt every year for the road race school for my instructors. Everybody got a free t-shirt. So because I was involved with the Art of the Motorcycle exhibit, my brother Jim and I created that t-shirt. And you see that page and turn to the next page. This is two of the colors. This is when we were doing 4-color separation so you could screen print. I was never really happy with that shirt. So for my art exhibit that I just did last year, I redesigned that shirt. So I'm going to show that final print of that shirt right now and my new design. And if anybody out there wants to buy one of these shirts, you can always email me. I'll make you one of the new shirts. I didn't even make you the old one, but the new shirts are pretty cool. But I was very fortunate to be involved with the Art of the Motorcycle exhibit at the Field Museum. That's one of my feathers I put in my cap, that I captured almost all the video that was used in the video that was put together.
Yeah. All right, so what's this motorcycle that you're on right here?
That is Road Dog. Road Dog is the largest motorcycle ever made. Buzz Walnick's a good friend of mine. There's a great story about him finding that motorcycle. The guy that built that motorcycle, he had a shop right on Cicero Avenue, right down the street from where I live now. And he eventually got into manufacturing motorcycles and using automobile engines. But that's the biggest motorcycle ever built, called Road Dog. I'm going to show you a little clip of me riding on the back. But I also produced the Road Dog video.
Yeah.
And that's also available. So anybody, you can always email me if you want the whole video. But I'll show you a little clip riding on the back with Buzz. It's a great, interesting story about Wild Bill, Gilkey, and Road Dog. Another great story that if I had more time. So turn the page, and now there's a picture there. What does it say there?
The rebirth of the legends of Chicagoland racing. So what's the Ace Cafe?
Well, that's a real, now I'm thinking back, that's a real interesting flyer that we put together, because Warren White and Don Otto put together the Legends of Chicagoland Motorcycle Racing brunch, and they did 2 or 3 of them at the restaurant that used to be on the Eisenhower Expressway in Hillside. And then they sort of dropped it. So Jim Viverito and I approached them guys and said, would you mind if we started up again? Well, Ace Cafe is the name of a famous cafe in London, England. So this is the era, now we're at the end of the 1990s, of the mods and the rockers. The mods and the rockers were something that happened in the 1960s in England. The mods were the nice dressed scooter guys, and the rockers were the motorcycle guys with the leather jackets. And not that they had any. I guess there was a little scramble somewhere at some beach, but whoever thinks of a beach in England?
Yeah.
Any water around England, is too cold to go swimming in. But that's the Mods and Rockers and Quadrophilia, the album, right? Quadrophilia, the Who had something to do with the Mods and Rockers, and the movie Orange. Oh God. Oh, Clockwork Orange was sort of Mods and Rockers. And the amazing thing is, good thing you bring that up, Larry Fletcher opened the Ace Cafe on Roscoe Street. So the first time we had the rebirth was at the Ace Cafe. Larry Fletcher to this day is the guy that was organizing the Mods and Rockers on Lincoln Avenue, and now it's grown into Moto Block, which is an annual street party in Chicago.
Yeah.
So that's my connection with Larry goes back to 1998, I guess that is. But I think now we should get to the main thrust. I'll go back one page, and I think that T-shirt says it all. What does it say?
1999 WERA National Endurance Championship.
So that is what Steve Carson and I, and this is how we're going to end the show this week. Because I'm going to show you two different clips. Steve Carson and I running the WERA National Endurance Series. I'll briefly explain what that means. Middleweight, WERA National Endurance Series, there's 5 classes running on the track at the same time. There's heavyweight superbike, heavyweight superstock, middleweight superbike, middleweight superstock, and lightweight class. Superbike means you can modify the engine, you can change the cams, you can work on the head design, you can run a different pipe. Mainly you can work in the engine. You can remove metal and you can change cams. Super stock means the engine's got to be stock as it comes from the factory. Can't modify nothing in the engine. You're allowed to change the exhaust system. You're allowed to change the rear shock. And Superbike could use special equipment so they could change tires quicker. So like Vespa Racing and Team Suzuki before them, or whoever was the champion in 99, I'm not quite sure, they could modify the whole setup for the wheels so they could change the tire in 4 or 5 seconds. Running super stock, you had to leave everything pretty much stock, but I bent every rule I could to make it a little bit easier. So eventually I was at the point, especially on the R6 Yamaha, we could change the front and rear wheel in under 2 minutes. Compared to Team Vespa, Team Suzuki, or the other teams that won the championship in the Superbike class, or Army of Darkness. They had the trick set up where they could change wheels in 15, 20 seconds. But the rules are equal for everybody. See, that's the one thing when people say, why are there racing organizations? For fairness. I mean, you don't want people cheating. I mean, for us to win the championship in middleweight superstock means that we ran by the rules. We were the better team. We worked harder. Not that we rode faster. I mean, Steve Carson, without a doubt, was the key for us winning the championship. Steve Carson was a very fast, competitive rider. Always almost 2 seconds faster than me on every racetrack. There's only maybe Gateway I was as fast as Steve. Maybe a couple of tracks, but Steve was always faster than me, and he was competitive. I was always, I mean, the whole thing, and you can't crash. If you in a race and you crash, you don't have a chance.
Yeah.
If you're in a race and your bike breaks, you don't have a chance. So running the WERA National Endurance Series was quite a deal, and there was very good teams. The competition was very sharp, and it was a feather in our cap. 4 and 6 cycle, Dunlop tires, Yamaha dealers, I can't thank them all enough. And everybody involved, everybody that helped. We'd be at the racetrack. You need people to help you in the pits. We would get other teams to help, and we would help them. So it was always a big party. I'm very happy. So turn the page, and you see the points right there. After 8 races, we were leading.
Yeah.
Who was in second place?
Neighbor of the Beast.
Neighbor. How many points were they behind us?
Like 80.
80 points. Okay. The next race after that 8th race was the 24-hour at Willow. I'm going to show you a little bit of that. Melissa Burkhoff, who was Neighbor of the Beast, and Scott Fisher both raced Willow Springs. I mean, Melissa Burkhoff knew Willow Springs. That was a 24-hour race. So if they did well there, they could have surpassed us.
Yeah.
So my goal at Willow Springs was just to run a good, solid race and then still hold. And when we left Willow Springs, we still had the point lead going into the final race. So I'm going to show you some footage from that, and then turn the page. There was a great picture of Steve Carson. We were racing. The R6 came out in 1999, but we ran the 24-hour with the YZF 600, and we finished the 24-hour. Now let's take a look at clips from 3 of the 10 races of the 1999 WERA National Series.
And the start of the 1999 WERA National Endurance Series. Jumping out front, it looks like Semoff Brother Racing with Glenn Zurich. Right behind them is Arclight Suzuki. Tapeworks is right up there. Tapeworks is only on a 600, running 600 Superbike. 1000 Yamaha leads the charge. Through turn 4, down the back chute. Into the fast sweeper. Arclight makes the move on that 750 Suzuki. Both these bikes are running heavyweight Superbike. So Arclight Suzuki shoots down the front straightaway. Semoff second. Tapeworks, Army of Darkness, Clinton Cycles. Steve Carson's running about 12th on Team Chicago. YZF 600, 4 and 6 prepared.
After 1 hour of racing, Team Chicago was leading in the middleweight superstock class, running 9th place overall, as Steve Carson turns the bike over to me.
Right ahead of me, number 85, that's Penn State on a 900 Kawasaki. And they're sponsored by the Autobahn. We come through turn 1 and 2 and head through 3 and 4. I gotta get around this Honda. I got the other 600 Yamaha right behind me. That's 97, that's Team Action. The team out of West Lafayette, Indiana, sponsored by Action Motorsport. And like I say, if you're not passing the bike in front of you, there's always someone right behind you trying to get by you.
At the end of 2 hours of racing, Team Chicago is still leading heavyweight super stock.
As Steve Carson continues, we're leading middleweight super stock on the Team Chicago YZF 600 Yamaha. Yamaha dealers, 4 and 6 prepared, Race Tire Service Dunlop, AirTech, Torco Racing Fuel and Oil, Regina Chains, EBC, HJC helmets, and Kit Racing. As Steve heads down this back chute. Oh, coming into pits now. 174. This is the team that's right behind us. But I'll tell you, I don't know what kind of pit stop this is. 174 is TM Motorsport on a 600 Suzuki from Plano, Texas.
After watching that pit stop, I knew that we would win the first race of the 1999 season. We left Talladega leading in points in the middleweight super stock class. I believe we finished 9th place overall. Remember, there are 5 different classes running on the racetrack. The next track we're looking at is Putnam Park. This was the 7th race of the 1999 season, and I am right behind Melissa Burkhoff. Melissa Burkhoff moved to the DC area from California to hang out with the guys from Army of Darkness. That's why she named her team Neighbor of the Beast. They were running Suzukis, and in the first 2 races of the 1999 season, Melissa entered her team in the middleweight superbike class. In the end, that cost her dearly because the points earned in them first 2 races did not count in middleweight super stock. As you can see, Melissa Burkhoff is a great motorcycle racer. She put together a great team, and they were always a threat to beating Team Chicago and maybe taking away the championship. The second race after this race was Willow Springs. Melissa Burkhoff learned how to road race at Willow Springs, and she brought in her good friend Scott Fisher to race there. We were concerned about the amount of points available at that 24-hour at Willow Springs and Neighbor of the Beast, picking up more points during that 24-hour event. I always loved Melissa Burkhoff. She was a great friend, a great competitor, and a great motorcycle racer. And she put together a great team. Now let's check out the action at Willow Springs.
And the start of the 24-hour National Endurance at Willow Springs. Jumping out front, it looks like that's Sum Up Brother Racing on that 1000 Yamaha. As we go through turn 1 and head over to turn 2, which is a carousel, a continuous right-hander, high speed. Got a multitude of lines through this corner as we taper together and head towards turn 3, which is a uphill left-hander, great corner. Looks like Sum Up Brothers still in the front. Graves Motorsports right with them. As we come through turn 4, which is this slower speed on the top of the hill at the Budweiser balcony. We head down to turn, this may be 6, and we head out into the desert, over this hill, and into the fastest section of the track, turn 8. Talk about a high-speed corner. And then you got to tighten up your line to make it through turn 9 that leads you onto the front straightaway. As you can see,
the race started at 12 o'clock noon, and before you know it, it is nighttime. We get to see some spectacular views as the bikes race around this road course using their headlights. During the nighttime, up front, it was Graves Motorsport in the lead. Sum Up Brother Racing was in 2nd place. Arclight was in 3rd place. Corona Escrow was in 4th place. 1-800 Crotch Rocket was in 5th place. D&D Racing was in 6th place. Willow Homeboys were in 7th place. Army of Darkness was in 8th place. Attack was in 9th place. And Team Chicago, we had a little bit of a problem with the taillight, but we were in 15th place. Whereas the taillight might have gave us a little bit of a problem, the The lights we put on the side showing number 45 look pretty good as Morgan Broadhead comes by on the Team Chicago YZF. I was back on the bike at 5 o'clock in the morning as I got to watch the sunrise over Willow Springs.
See if I can get around this bike. One thing at night, it's very hard to identify any motorcycles. That Buell out there, you can spot that bike or you can hear it. Come down this back chute. Now this used to be the blindest spot on the track, and now we're starting to see the outside definition of the track as we veered to the left and now into the right. Turn 8. Starting to see the desert surroundings. Didn't see any animals on the track at night. It was a very safe night. Nobody ran into anything. As I head down this front straightaway, we're running in 15th place. And you can see the dawn is breaking. Up front is Graves Motorsport Yamaha, sponsored by Graves Motorsport, and at 1000 Yamaha. Sumoff Brothers still running in second. Arclight third. EBSCO Suzuki's fourth. We move a little bit further. So I head down this front straightaway.
I can't remember why Steve Carson did not make it to Willow Springs, as we see Phil Young riding on the Team Chicago YZF Yamaha. There was 4 riders, and each of us got to ride 6 hours on this lovely road course. Now let's hear from Craig Randall.
This has been a lifetime experience for me. I haven't run so long on a motorcycle in one event. I feel a long way from home, being from Canada, and it feels good to be riding with Team Chicago again. I haven't ridden with Team Chicago since 1996. A couple hours rest in between sessions on the bike, and I feel like I could ride another 24.
Craig, Phil, Morgan, and I ran a solid race. After 21 hours, it was Graves Motorsports up front, Arclight second, Sumoff Brothers third, EBSCO Suzuki fourth, Attack fifth, Army sixth, Homeboys seventh, Mission Yamaha 8th, Team Crago 9th, 10th place with GP Tech, and Team Chicago, we dropped back to 16th place, but we were running strong.
Come upon 12 o'clock, high noon at Willow Springs, and the checkered flag comes out to end this 24-hour WERA National 24-hour. Coming down the front straightaways is the Graves Motorsport 1000 Yamaha, picking up the win with 867 laps. Some of the other teams coming across the line. Carlisle Racing finished 10th. Mission Yamaha was 9th as we see the Graves pit celebrating. Team Crago was 8th. The Willow Homeboys were 7th. Army of Darkness was 6th. Attack was 5th. EBSCO was 4th. Sumoff 3rd. Arclight 2nd. And Graves Motorsport number 1 at Willow Springs. Persiano from Arclight congratulates Chuck Graves. Phil Young brings the Team Chicago 4 and 6 prepared. YZF back in the pits is Paul Harwell on the Graves Motorsports R1 Yamaha.
It was nice, you know, we had a good time. I always got to do one of these at least once. I'm pretty impressed though. The Yamaha YZF actually worked pretty good out here. It did a great job. It was a nice ride.
So it was fun to ride. It was a hard ride, but you know, we got to thank everybody that came out here and helped us. It made the difference, Dan. And you put together a good team. It was great.
And as I get drenched by my teammates, what a great day. And a special thanks to the scorers, Joyce Kelly, Sharon Young, and Susie Young. We could not have done it without them. They are the real troopers and the pit crew. But Team Chicago leaves Willow Springs with 127 points. And I think we've got enough points to wrap up the middleweight super stock championship.
It was a great day, a great time. Thanks to Craig, Phil, and Morgan. And that's where we're going to close it. So what do you think of winning a championship in 1999?
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was. I mean, like I said, I got to thank everybody. I mean, the guys at 4 and 6, the Yamaha dealers that believed in me, Dunlop Tire, Race Tire Service, Steve Brubaker, and everybody, WERA, Western Eastern. I mean, WERA was like my third family.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was very fortunate.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you, Alyssa. For more information on WERA, Western Eastern Road Race Association, America's road race leader, it's WERA.com, WERA.com. To contact me, it's teamdan45@gmail.com. I love to hear from my audience. Remember, you can always search on YouTube with Dan Schmitt, motorcycle racing, for great motorcycle racing action.